Hello everyone, welcome back to another little bit of fun, relaxing survival here in our ever so lovely Space Engineers world, which is taking its sweet time to load up, unfortunately, right now. Sorry for the early start this week, everyone. Unfortunately, due to work schedule, I actually have to turn things up a little early tomorrow morning, so I'm streaming a little early, and I may have to stop a little bit early. We'll kind of see how things go from there. But I definitely will not be doing more than the 4-hour for once. Going to see to that and make sure I don't actually ignore it this time. He says, ha ha ha. I'm noticing we don't have any O2 in here, which is weird. And then suddenly I do. Game is confused about whether I have air in this location, apparently. Enough to actually take down a good chunk of health. That's right, I took the med bay out of here, and right, it's got moved over to here. There it is. So we'll top that off a little bit. Alright, so where we left off last time is we've got our passenger concourse. It is intact at this point. We have some interior work still left to do. The rooms up here still need to be designed. We've got an upper stage that still needs to be built, but the building itself is airtight. That's a good spot to leave that. Why do I have that there like that? I'll think about changing that, but we can take care of that later. We have out in the wild here a bit of a problem over in the manufacturing area, because that got hit and we basically got the bare minimum back up and running. So we need to actually seal that back up. Actually, well, we can't really seal it up very easily because of all of the various openings, but yeah, we have a lot of battle damage over here to replace, some power generation to get back in, more accurately, some power generation to not be sitting out in the front stoop of the porch, and you know, it just needs a bit more. Also, why is that? Oh, right, yeah, the door, when it's down, is in that position. Okay. Yeah, we've got some work to do over here. I want to get the dome back up in to its acceptable place. I can't exactly seal this place off because it's very dependent on the voxels, but I would at least I'd like to start building this out a little more. And the other thing I want to do while I'm over here is down here. We had this little tunnel dug over to our cargo area over there. I'd like to actually make this a bit more of a formal structure, link it off of this grid and everything, so it'll be interesting to try to tie it into something over here, but make it a bit more substantial so that way we don't lose this link again, or potentially can hold up a little better. I mean, granted, I've got a piston here holding everything together. That's not great, but it works. Battery room is certainly also on the cards over here. Wouldn't be a bad idea to have some power storage. And of course, we've also got everything going on, floating around up in orbit. But I think this is my priority for the moment. So, when we last had the dome intact, it was kind of a weird little structure. It kind of leveled out and then went up a little bit more on top of that and had panels draped over the sides. Panels were being a pain as far as most blocks go. And, I mean, even right now, I kind of need to change the original design. And the reason for that is the firing arcs from the base's defensive weapons causes a little tiny bit of a problem. If I try to drag this up any further, I'm just going to be shooting into my own building, potentially. So, rather than drag that into the problem, I'm just going to restore it to where it kind of needs to be. So I'm thinking, if we don't do that, let's see how this works out. Hey, Cobra Commander. Yeah, Chris, I had to start early because of work scheduling tomorrow morning. I got to be in very early, so figured I would, instead of having to end things too early, I'd at least get something in tonight and try to run the full length if I can. Let's see. I think we can make this work. We'll just basically cap us off at that level. Which means I gotta figure out something creative to do with this roof now, because it's not gonna look right just kind of sitting here like this. An idea. Kind of make this. Just get a big support coming up through there. We can still continue that through. Maybe. Yeah, that should work. Actually, that won't. Ah, it's a tricky corner. I don't know if I have a block for that. Block I don't have armor for.
Inventory full.
Yeah, I want to at least get this capped off, because if anything comes in from above, right now it's kind of just sitting out here, waiting to be beaten up again. Especially if I'm going to do any serious expansion of the production facilities down there. That would be of some concern. Yeah, sorry guys. It's the trouble with YouTube is the notification system is not always good, so this is where I plug the Discord, the salt mines. And also I did announce it over on the Armco Discord as well. I usually try to. If I know I'm going to be late or early or any sort of other weird thing, I'll try to announce it for you guys. Because I'm in the same boat too. It's like, wait a minute, when did that stream start? Oh, come on, it started 2 hours ago? So here's the problem. I've got this half-height transition here. I don't think any of the armor transitions carry any of those. It's like a high, it's a high peak, but I need to go down to the half height there, the half height here on the outside, but a half height on the corner. I don't think that exists. Well, shoot, that just absolutely sucks. Not a thing that's gonna fit in there. Alright, so it's gonna look a little ugly. A little jaggy on that side, but it means closing this dome up. As much as I don't like not having a proper roof on it, or, you know, like windows on it like we had before. That's another one of those, live with it. It's an industrial shack. Basically, it's there to house buildings. It's not supposed to be glass fronted and everything. It's supposed to be covered in solar panels to make it efficient. Plus, it's got the windows on the outside anyways. And before to boot, it also had the solar panels up top, so not like we're really losing anything here. I did also put some serious thought into whether I wanted to put defenses on top of this dome. And I kind of want to still avoid that, because if anything comes in shooting, I don't want it to be shooting at the building. that it can then just happily defeat the stuff, and then it's, or because of that, it's opened the hole in the roof that it can easily start taking out everything inside. So the defensive structures are going to continue to be outside buildings. We don't want ships firing on our innocent civilian workers here. Innocent, right. That's the word I'm going with on that one. So that should... It's going to be fun because I know that one whole side of the dome is missing all of its windows, and those were a pain to get in the first place. Get it? Window, pain, bad joke. Yeah, the towers are going to definitely continue to be around it. The landscape out here just favors where I'm at. I'm in a nice big crater here, and we've got nothing but lovely little hillsides over there to put more and more defensive towers on. So by the time something gets into here, it really should have been... It's going to be in a spot where it's going to be getting blasted. You know, let's say a ship comes down and right on top of it. It's going to be in an area where it's going to be in crossfire from multiple turrets, so I'm kind of hoping it pays out. Let's see, that we don't want. That we do. Okay. We go on a little bit of a back and forth here. This is 48. That ought to do it. At the very least, we won't have something completely torn apart on our horizon anymore. We'll have a nice, pretty looking building. Start doing some interior work on it and do some detailing. Does need some lighting on the outside, though. I mean, we've got some by dint of a little bit of the interior light showing up here. Got some windows even missing on that side. Ugh. Alright. Let's bite the bullet. Space engineers, give me your Windows system, such as it is. Try to find the right... That looks like a canted. Yeah, it's the canted 1x1s. In good shape on those on that side. Actually, this is the least hit area of the dome. But the 2x1 pointed. That's the seamless. Side, the face. Yeah, that's the right one. Alright. That's... think I'm building those the right way around. It looks like it. I need... Bert, right? Ha! There we go. At least these are easy to replace. That needs more light, because if I kill the suit lights, you guys can't see anything on the stream right now, I'm willing to bet. It's just that dark. I do get some interesting variations, though. I need that floor tile. There's a piece missing there. That was that guy there. It's an uncolored block, so it'll be fine. There we go. Now I have our proper setup there. Light, 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 light. Where am I gonna fit light? Oh, missing more chunks. I thought I was done on the chunks. I'm not. Just remember, there are no accidents in Space Engineers. There are only happy assaults by enemy ships that then proceed to give you something to rebuild. Oh, my brain is going back to that rotor system, and especially because I said I also want to get the panels back on that building too when I get the roof on it. With the command center. I'm gonna do it again. Since I don't have to worry about sealing it up, let's go ahead and talk rotor. I'm gonna regret this, aren't I? It's just I can do so much with actually having the rotor up there, but maybe what I need to do is I went with I went with small grids last time. I think what I want to try to do here is actually go with the large grid. Larger grid panels are going to be easier, and they're going to fit in a bit better, I suspect. Let's just get a network up here so I can talk to it. Rotor. Senior rotor. Let's get you set up properly here. First off, max the braking torque. Get as close as it can. Limit's gonna be 45. And give you velocity just to get there and kill it. Now, from there, I add in got the rotor hinges. Oh. Yeah, we'll try them. I'm a little less than confident on this one, guys. That's... hinge needs to be on the very end here. Problem is, I don't think it's going to quite work the way I'm thinking it will. That would rotate it left and right on that axis. That's the tipping I need. Not exactly building the way I expected it would build. I will admit I am a complete stranger to the MA rotor hinges. I suspect it's not quite built the way I wanted it. Ah, Keen! Toolbar lock, please. Come in so handy. For those happy little accidents. Alright, that's where we placed it originally. The hinge is on top, so if I rotate over, the hinge should be on bottom. And that should now build the same way. Granted, I'd be happier with it building... shit. No, that's not gonna work either. I need it to be able to build over and down that slope. Actually, you know what? I take it back. I can make this work. Currently at what it considers an unsafe torque. That's amusing. What do you consider safe torque on this rotor? Oh, this is gonna get interesting. All right. Lower limit is 0. Upper limit will be 180. Give me a velocity. Rotor is not turning the way I expected it. I was thinking that was going to be the base, and this was the part that would hinge, but that's the... no, 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 no. You can get rid of that piece. All right. That build it with this flexible side down. Let's try that. Because that's already tilted the angle that it... if I can make it drop a little lower before I do it. Just a rotor, please. Yeah, I want to do the solar panels like I had set up on this before, just because that did look pretty good. Current angle is 0, so lower limit would be 0. Upper limit, let's just give it 45 for the time being. That almost works the way I need it to. And so here's what I'm thinking is I'll balance out on the other side. We'll give it a little bit of an armored, tiny little bit of an armored shell over it, so that way it might resist one tiny little bit of Gatling fire the next time it comes under attack. And just to make it look better. Should be able to build around this, I hope. Not with that block, but maybe. Where is it? I'm looking for that one, slab corner. Darn. That would be so nice if I could put that in like that, but nope, no such luck. And let's grab... A little weird because it doesn't quite line up right. See, I don't want this to sit just 20 million armor blocks there, but I don't think I'm going to have many options for a half slab. I mean, I could do... And if we just change the color up... It's kind of pillar-like. Alright. So far, so good. You're convincing me so far, game, on this one. It's a half block that looks a bit like scaffolding we can employ here. And off that, we can deploy a medium center. That would be the offset one. Doesn't quite fit perfectly flush with the angles and everything, but that works. So now the idea is we mirror it on the other side. You, which I hope you're lined up in the right spot. Yep. You paint job as well. We make this all... As much as that light blue kind of fits with the pale color here, a little bit dark coloring on top of it wouldn't go amiss. And then I'm up against the problem of needing to find another light source. I really do wish there is a way to place a light in the middle of a block, like on top of a half block. But alas, not quite. But I think we can make this work. Just to get something on that side. And then... oh, actually, is there a responding armor for... you got something. Yep. It's because that look of the... I've never been a fan of this particular block in Space Engineers because the texture is non-repeating. Granted, that's because it's kind of... well, I don't want to say cop-out, but... let's call it what it is. It's also not an easy block to figure out what they're going to texture with, but... I have to worry about this side mirroring over, so... I'm gonna do that. Give me a little more texture up here without that repeated thing showing up again and again and again. Maybe even... pull in that.
Inventory full.
Is that a safe block? No, that is most definitely not a safe block to take out. That would have killed everything over here. Make red, different texture, different coloration, but a little bit of change is good. Hey, driver. Hey, Zuriel. No explosions, not one. The enemies have been keeping their distance so far. That destroyer probably will be within about 3 kilometers at some point, but fortunately, that seems to be about as far as they're willing to go. Let's find Rotor Hinge base number 6 and give it the same treatment. Lower limit of 0, upper of 45. That gets me the good cant. It's weird when you get into these half blocks and they just don't texture quite right. That's what scaffolding blocks are for. I was gonna say, that's a trap right there. Just want me to get those two grids bumping into each other, don't you? Nice try, game, but I have seen through your lies. You say I could place a block there, but you know full well what would be happening if I did. Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. Not that it's not clanging out already. Good grief. Really have to put you guys on a rotor lock. Probably should anyways. Share inertia tensor, lock it. That better? Are you happier with that game? No jiggling. Okay, good. We got our lights. They are lighting nothing, especially these two somehow. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things does not belong. Can you guess which lights are not like the others? How? I can't even guess how the lighting engine's pulling that off. Let's see if we back off. It is definitely not a case of render distance screwing it up. Let's see if we can get it out of sight. So now I can't see the lights at all. Yep, that's broken. Oh, Keen. Alright, corner lights on. These two guys. Full outdoor intensity, and hide them. What the heck? Oh, wow. That's special. That's really special. Both oriented the exact same way. What messed up lighting bug is this? The light position, really the problem is, I know what you mean there, because the way the light is offset, it's really about here where my light or my cursor is at the moment on the screen. That's where the offset would be for that. And then for this one, what it's doing is it's taking the offset and sticking it over there. But both... Tell you what, let's try something here. And for the sake of science, find those lights that I just turned off. And I bet what I can do to equalize them is set their offset to 0. There we go. Granted, I can't see the solar panels now, but... at least now the whatchamacall is being backlit properly. How does it look like from the other side and the inside? Not bad. I still can't see the panels from the inside either that well, but... there are probably ways we can... Yeah, I'm wondering if the best way to actually do this isn't going to be relying on lights on this grid, but relying on them off-grid. Maybe I'm approaching this the wrong way. Like, have some spotlights on rotors that are angled to shine on the building, which I hate doing that with a spotlight. I don't want to throw on... I know everyone's all goo-goo gaga over the extended range spotlights. The problem is I'm not a fan of the texture of the light itself, as far as with the shadows it throws. The hatching's nice in some regards, but you don't want it constantly on everything. And B, I'm a little worried about the impact it has on the game if you have too many of them in the scene. Whereas because the room lights aren't calculating shadows, they're actually less intensive on it. And you can get away with some lovely cool effects that are lighting things up like over here. Whereas if I were doing traditional lighting on that, half of that wouldn't even be lit up right now. So what can I do to make this better? Could introduce a light here, but it's not going to have much range on it. I don't want to resort to a room light in this case because it's going to be overkill and it'll light up inside the dome. Tonight's project, Lucian, is the war on lights, it seems. They're rotated the exact same way around, and yet the offsets are completely different from between the left and the right side. So now, since I've got to reset them, they don't quite work. I could throw on... There is something I could do here, potentially. Oh, actually, I'm missing those blocks there. Let's get those in. It's your corner block. I'm wondering if what I could do is clear out some other junk here. Here's our... wasn't that... There we go, the attachment plates. Might be able to pull off something here. By attempting clang, for starters. The problem is I want to merge these two grids together, but I know if I do that, I'm going to have instant clang. Two rotors controlling the seam subgrid, that's just asking for it, but... I'm thinking if I merge things together, I could do a subgrid with just small grid spots on them. Yeah, the trick is how to work the small grid spots in without it being overly conspicuous. Alright, let's really tempt clang. This mod is enough of a potential nightmare, in which I am invoking things that should not be touching. That builds. Actually, just, because you know you're not built next to that. Alright, so long as you don't clang out, you two. You're rotor locked. You're not entirely rotor locked, though. Just thinking about that. Do that on both. Finish tensor lock. Finish tensor lock. Okay. So we should actually be safe, theoretically. Now what I can do is... get just the tiniest little... It's almost like a little bit of a callback to the original design I had over here now that I'm looking at this. I'm gonna drag it about center line. This should be far less clangier than anything else I can do for adaptation. You can see I'm already hitting lighting bugs in the scene, like that back tower is, depending on my camera position, rendering and not rendering. You have to kind of keep that in mind. But a small grid spot is a lot less impactful as far as being able to keep it inconspicuous. We come over here and disguise it a little bit. Oh, no, you don't like that. Okay, disguise most of it, I should say. How does that look? Oh, that's one funky lighting artifact there. How are you generating that? Oh. And those spots are firing way too far, way too bright. Let's see. Must be those two. Yeah, what are you doing firing at that? Even that's kind of pushing it to some extent. And I'm still not getting the accent lighting I was hoping for on the solar panels. Unless I back away, in which case one set of panel lights up, but the other one doesn't. Game does not want me to render lighting. And I get close and it just goes away completely. Oh, space engineers, you're so crazy. To improve your odds. You're already... Tell you what. Let's just go for 1. There. Okay, that's a bit better. I don't need to change your angle ever so slightly. Break the light. See, that works. Now I just need to tamp down the distance on it. It doesn't need to go that far. Save some shadow rendering time here. Spotlight numero 3. Outside intensity with radius of 50. I should keep it off the ground. There we go. Of course, now the sun's coming up, so I can quit complaining about lighting pretty soon here. They're backlit in a weird way. At least got some lighting on the outside of it now, so I guess we're just gonna have to live with that. Now that I've got the sun coming up, I don't want to waste too much more time working on lighting and worry about actually being able to build now that I can see what I'm building. Lights. You think Keen will come with the light update? Honestly, I don't think they will, and this is not a slight on Keen in the slightest, in all honesty. This is more of a case of what they really, really need is for V-Rage to be able to take advantage of ray casting rendering. All that stuff that they're turning up in the super duper high quality line of hideously overpriced graphics cards. Once that starts really kind of kicking into becoming more common, then they probably have a better chance of being able to do something better with the lighting engine in the game. Granted, it's going to take a serious card to handle it, but the fact of the matter is it just needs to... It really, SE, the work I'm expecting to do with the lighting engine is something more optimized that you'd get out of optimizing Blender and doing some serious CGI animation. Which, that is not SE's forte in the slightest, so... So in all due fairness to Keen, I do give them credit on that remark, or that particular area, that mark, that there isn't really much they can do. Doesn't stop me from wishing that it would be a little better, or a little more robust, or handle things a little better. Or simply stating that stuff like the room lights really should be part of the game, because when you can do a giant... If you're doing an underground scene, you don't really care how much... and you don't need to have all of your lights dutifully rendered in every possible location. It really kind of does make sense if you just have... I mean, going back to my 3ds Max days, you're talking more like omnidirectional lights, basically. Pretty much what they count as. So they're there to cast ambient light on the scene and not actually do any detailed, overly detailed stuff. Let's see, I think that should be about right. So you're 2 points past there, and then we start our turn, so... Light armor. Yeah, I mean, as always with this game engine, keeping in mind that I am pushing it rather severely too. I mean, the way that the stream started off tonight with the load time, that's not atypical. That is how long it actually does take me to get into the save file these days. And it's not from everything that's flying around in the open too. It is just, I have started to run across those limits. Ones that are marked do not disturb. I do just a simple straight fall over on that. Too wide, and then the central support column. Perfect. You half block with the 2-1 slope. Got it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the technology. We can rebuild it. Pretty soon, we shall once again have our giant dome. Now, will I take Keen to task for not having these 2 armor blocks that I'm using in the game? Absolutely. They don't exactly have technology to hide behind for that one. I mean, let's be honest here. As far as graphics go, 10 years ago, having a shadow like this, like my engineer right now, reacting even with that level of detail on a texture like that while rendering all of this other stuff in real time, that would have pretty much been impossible. You more or less would have been really coming down with some serious PC issues at that point. How do I want to... Alright, that was temporary scaffolding to hold everything together. When I took the genuine roof out, your panel mount point, your panel mount point. You're gonna be a panel mount point. Still not 100% convinced I'm gonna be able to copy paste these grids on, let alone try to do it through blueprints. I might give it a shot. Like I need... Dome needs some interior lighting attention too, but I'm not going to work on that just yet. I'll wait until it's dark out for that. So I've started you off. You just go 2 more layers down. I can do that. Lights being seen through the world. Well, yeah. That's why every now and then I go back to my underground set, and unfortunately, without the debug menus working, I'm very quickly reminded of one of the reasons why I stopped working on that set. Because unfortunately, with the way Keen wants to handle underground lighting and ambient occlusion, it is a bit of a nightmare. A nice dramatic underground light scene, and you can't quite pull it off at the moment. Granted, I could just turn off ambient occlusion. That is a game option, but it starts to mess around with other things. All right. Get this window placed right. Yeah, not from that angle, I'm not. should... attached to that. All of those are attached to this. This should be safe.
Inventory full.
It's like 2 convoys running around in space out there. Someone's a little uncomfortably close. At least they're heading away. Right, you guys just wander around out there, keep doing your things in orbit. I'm perfectly content not to be bothered here. Still rebuilding from that last visit you wonderful folks gave me. Didn't even buy any of my paintings too, though. That's one thing, if they're gonna rip off your paints in orbit. It's another, they just come in and trash the place, mess around with the whole gallery. Disrespectful thugs, I tell ya. Bunch of hooligans, they are. Lucas-sponsored hooliganery. Yeah, despite all that, it keeps it interesting at least. Why do I keep getting the blame for this stuff? Oh, what's the line from Galaxy Quest? One of the quotes that he had. Wherever there's a Tarkalian baby crying in the night, I'll be there. Never give up, never surrender. The part of that whole speech that he does. Suspect I'm probably out of bulletproof glass, judging by what's going on here. Kind of amazing on its own that I'm actually out of a material. Let's take a look at the board. Let's see. So we got the explosives, set the disassemble, bulletproof glass, 175 out of 140. NDS is working, but it's not having a lot of luck at the moment. Why are you trying to sort... Paint gun magazines, some of the supercharger shields. It's having it's having problems with, oh, I know what it is. It's the small grids, they've got bottles on them, so it's trying to take everything there and sort them out over into these guys, which are just temporarily clamped to the hull, basically. So NDS is not happy about that, but that should be enough to kill it. Make sure plenty of ammo left, or uranium left, not ammo. An ammo-fueled reactor, that'd be kind of scary. Not having any luck building. Huh. Been trying to do anything? Tool or ingot component. Matchbox 226. What's your dealio? Something's got the assemblers gunked up. Huh. Extra components. Yeah, you're overstocked, but you're not being fed. Oh. That factors into it too, actually. For starters, I know exactly what the problem is at this point, and it's because this grid is also loaded with components from its latest run, and as such, it has been begging the system to unload them into the assemblers to tear them down. Only it can't do that, which is why there's 175 glass that it thinks it's got that it doesn't have. So that's the problem there. We can fix that for now, at least. You can hear the assemblers also have all kicked into duty down there, because now... Yeah, now I've actually got some stuff being built. Now it's recognized I don't have enough spare hydrogen bottles, so it's building those up. Yep. That's the problem is there. So, as much as I want to keep these guys in a nice controlled area, until I get to a point where I have some sort of proper cargo attachment in there, I'm gonna have to respectfully decline docking it there. So that'll solve the problems in the time being, and it'll also help unload that a little bit. You know what would be so cool? Would be to have these like clamshell doors that could open up and close. I mean, like close properly. That would be so nice if I could pull that off, but just a way I can really get... It doesn't have to be airtight, because the whole dome's not airtight, it never will be. I have to keep that idea in mind. Future modifications. I mean, it'd be like a stadium roof, basically, is the kind of look I'm thinking of. Because it really kind of would make sense, almost, to actually keep the lemon square in the assembly area. And make this its dock. I mean, it's there as a salvage ship. This is an industrial facility. To think that over. It's definitely not something I want to try to take on tonight, but something to consider. Even if not like a whole, like, proper full-on... But really doing a proper clamshell would be a full half of this would be able to open up. Problem is that the dome's not the right size for it, actually. It's not a regular shape, it's irregular. So I got that section in the middle here where we've got some distance between these two support columns. So if I were going to do it, the clamshell would have to be based on a pivot point here that would allow it to attract a section completely around and over this one, which is also another problem. So we're talking about a pivot and piston setup. Things to think about, though. Definitely things to think about. Blast doors would... Blast doors work if we're talking about a... If I had something that was a horizontal or well, that could kind of do vertical. It'd be very risky for it, but it has to be a rectangular opening, kind of. The blast doors... I have some modifiers on it that I could technically try to do a slanted. I've got these variations on it that it's potentially doable, but even then, that's still a straight up and down slant. I've only got these two guys for trying to do a ramped door, and of course that one there. And those bits, it might be doable. Maybe not a blast door, but just a tilt door. Something that pivots around a common point on the middle section here. So part of it tilts back into the area, part of it tilts outside of it. Maybe I could get away with regular plain old doors. The brain meats are smoking on that one. Not quite up to anything. Maybe a bit of a rough idea of what we might be able to do. By 2 slope. Where are you? 3 flat inverted. 1 by 2 slope. No, I'm not thinking the top. I mean, I could do the top. Solar Axe isn't coming back over here. I mean, that's definitely going to live over off the back of that side of the installation, because otherwise it'd be in the line of fire of everything. So it could. It's going to be a pretty big area to pull it off, though. I mean... grab you. Should probably just set this down anyways. Doesn't need to be up in the air, wasting power flying. Basically, the entire roof would have to fold away or move. Then at that point, I'm concerned about hitting that. I could re-engineer it, but it's a nice little bit of detail to have on it. No, I'm still thinking this side that I've got over here that I've been kind of consciously ignoring. Tipped clamshell door, so it wouldn't have a big opening at the top, but definitely have plenty of opening on the bottom, if we can do it. But it could approach it as a series of doors, too. There's nothing saying it has to be 2 big pieces left and right here. And as far as... It's gonna get tricky trying to do this. Set up another bar. Don't want to lose all the pieces that I've got that built the solar wing on that. Need would be plain old rotor, some blast door blocks, which would need to be at a minimum those. That. Something that's not going to interfere on any sides. It has to rotate, which is the huge thing. What can I stick up that can be close to that edge of build without going too close to it? The problem is the slopes I do have won't work very well. That one won't. Actually, no, I take it back. I still need that one, but I need... There we go, that's the one I need. So this one, for instance, I can do that, but then the problem is it attaches to the right side, so... I need one that's missing this back half like that, but then also missing a side. So something like this, which I could stick on top of the rotor. That starts turning, it's eventually going to bind, though. Right her out. Or we don't make that the pivot point, we make the pivot point here. So, if I do something like that, and it keeps it separate on that side. The problem is as soon as I start swinging that, this corner is going to back up into this block and bind. And confirmation for that will be... Rotor. I'm a Rotor. Number 2. I could forget. Block that one that's up on the roof, please. And make sure we don't... Just because I feel like being silly. Current angle is that, so you should rotate in the clockwise, which means 90 should be there, 180 there. 90 would be my preference on that. Set it up with its limits first. I'll let you... I think that's no rotor displacement. I don't believe that. But, okay. Problem is it needs to be... Crap. I said it needs to be flat on the bottom so I also don't scrape against the back end of it. So it really needs to be almost like, you know, that's a pillar cap insert there. But in this form, so with that piece and that piece does not exist within this mod set. I'll try it. We'll see what happens. Alright, I gotta give it a probably gave it a speed, wouldn't it? Should give the braking torque first. Huh. I was actually thinking of folding out that way. I need to do negative 90. That's okay. I would have had to do this anyways. Lower limit. Negative 90. Reverse it. I'd have the clamshell actually open inward potentially on the, at least if I did a bottom level. Except no, because 90 on that would point in and block it up just as much. Looks like that actually managed to make it. Not gonna call victory just yet on this one, but that's looking promising. Even about the right speed for that too. I don't want to go hog wild on it, but let's see what happens here. Oh, that's close. But you know what? I'm not playing horseshoes, so that's perfectly fine. I'll work with a close. Not want to. Are you? Oh, right, the edge of the door. Derp. Derp, derpity, derp, derp. Derp, derpity, derp.
Inventory full.
And instead of that one. It's not going to work if you're thinking of going inward due to the round hole. No, I'm not. I was thinking about it briefly, but yeah, the logic of it doesn't work out. Eventually, things fall apart. I think we can use this block here. Granted, it's got a cut on the back of it, but it's also cut at the top. Then the next problem is the other side of the equation. Ooh. Because again, I'm down to needing that block there. Which this is going to bind with an upper part of the door.
Inventory.
Unless I manage to build all of this as... Thank you, game, but I really didn't need you to do that for me. Or maybe this is just the part that hinges out. It doesn't have to be that tall to admit the lemon square in here. I need the width. I don't need a lot of height on it. Alright, we'll try that. That gets us the 2 blocks that go next, and now I gotta try to get the curve on it. But before we go any further... Test, and test some more. Another problem I'm potentially going to face is going to have to be trying to counterweight the door a bit. Works. No sliding, slipping, friction, sparks, or groaning from the grids. Yeah, so I'm thinking I may have to just, since only that little bit's going in, I don't have to sacrifice too much of a build over here to make it work, so. Alright, let's talk that block. No.
Inventory full.
Not that one, but there. Be an annoyingly chunky door in some respects because of the way this is being built, but here's my break point on this. Expecting here. That lines up with the rotor point in the ceiling. Can that rotor hold it without flopping all over the place is the question. Nope, that's not what I want to build.
Inventory full.
That's what I want to build. Other tricky point is going to be the meeting point here.
Inventory full.
Don't exactly have a lot of centerline blocks that will let me go straight up and down on a curve.
Inventory full.
Now all that weight is going to be kicking this particular point further out, so this could go horribly wrong. Yep. Too much weight on that end has brought up that corner too much. Alright, how can we combat that? We don't have the inside of this built. I can't really touch that block too much. I can add you because you're bound together from the lower side, so...
Inventory full.
Let's borrow some heavy armor blocks to start with on the pivot point. Drag a little bit more weight over it. That give me... Yeah, perfect. That's what I want. Alright, we need to carry as much center of mass over that side as we can. It's actually going to run into a problem. It's going to drag, so I can't even do that much. What is the heaviest block I can put into this section of the build is the question. It's got to be something that's going to carry a lot of weight to bring it back over on the pivot point. To the point where this doesn't even really need to have...
Inventory full.
It's not going to rub up too much against that, so we have this whole... I need to kind of balance it off of this side more than anything. See, right now it's all sitting over here. You can't really see it, but it is canted over a bit. Especially because that you saw earlier was opening just fine. Heaviest block I could put on. Artificial mass isn't necessarily going to help out in this situation. It's going to be somewhat effective on the moon because it's only partial gravity, though. Gyro's got a lot to it. That's also true. Shits and giggles. Gonna let me put it there because of... We're gonna spark when I open and close it, but we'll try it. Block is on. Yeah, not working because of presence of gravity. But they only reduced the effectiveness in the gravity, didn't just render it completely useless. So, failing that, let's try the gyros. That goes a long way to moving a lot of weight there. Let's make it one step better. Oh, that's right, because you drag. We don't want that. I also don't want the gyros dragging over it. That's the last thing I want to see, are gyros going on a spark out. Alright, let's watch that center mass creep ever so closely. Gyro might actually have some clearance room in the bottom like that. Okay, that's a bit more over the rotation point there. I think that will work better. At least we're in the same general neighborhood now. Let's see if we have any better luck. Nope. Still bound up. Wants to do it. I know it wants to. Well, it doesn't matter whether I disable the gyros on that or not, but yeah. I've got enough base power to deal with it. Where am I thinking? Crap, one of these is on the whatchamacallit, one of these is not. Actually, I know which one it is because I just saw it at 30% power. That would be the miner's gyros. Correctamundo. Alright. I can drive them a bit further back in, too. So maybe we get rid of that. I mean, it's still going to interfere with the swing and the clearance through there, but as long as I don't exceed that point, I believe I'm okay. Okay, we're almost entirely on that now. That look. Ugh. Uh-oh. It's wedged. The door's freaking wedged. Alright. Oh, there we go. On no involvement by myself, it fixes itself. In all reality, there's still more stuff I can do to this, even without all of this going on. Look at that door just bounce around. I mean, the good news is the outer edge of this is completely modifiable, technically. Make sure it's actually not the back side hitting it, too. I don't think it is, but... shall verify. Nope, it's not. Definitely that edge. So the top edge bind it. Now the top edge moves out just enough. Okay. Well, that's just it. I think this is all I'm going to worry about for the height of the door. It's more than enough clearance for that lemon square to get in there. And then what I can do... even though the one with the most clearance on it's not going to work, I could... at the very least kind of get a sort of finished look to it. Need a opposite cant, though. It might do... nope, 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 nope. The combination, if I had that and that, it would work. Because that pulls back just enough. Could also go for... thing with you. Don't want it to look like it's a opening just waiting for someone to take advantage of it, you know? But at a half block, I don't really have a lot of options, so... let's grab... split tip's gonna spread out too far. Who would fit in that better? That's not gonna fit either. Saw that out the corner of my eye. It's like, nope, nope, nope. That's no good. Kind of looks a little wonky, but
Inventory full.
it's not gonna be a perfect close, but this isn't a perfect game, so get what we can. If I was really that worried about it, I'd have something like a piston sitting over here pushing up a piece in front of it when the door closes. And granted, it's still a gaping wide hole, but like I said, this facility is not airtight anyway, so personal access is what we'll call that. Then leads me to the next fun problem in that middle line. Because top I can work with. Top is just a case of... Top is a case of pickiness, really. Actually, top is a case of impossibleness. These shapes don't come in anything that's truncated on the top. So, as far as this side goes, what we need to do is... think a little more like this on the bottom side of the corner, at least. So I'm actually glad that I don't have... Actually, I'm glad I've got that gap in there now, because that means this will kind of fit a bit better. I figure out a way to do it. I need this block, but at the top height. Can anyone give me that shape? Any mods present that believe that they can do this, speak now or forever hold your peace. I mean, I have some play with the the rotor displacement. I could pull the door down a bit, but nowhere near enough to get clearance. We don't have anything here that's going to help me out, because otherwise I'd be able to use it on the top side of the door too. What about... Well, crap. There's a block that has not been invented yet for this game. Bubble shield, it will protect it. You can also make things airtight with the station bubble shield. Nope, I'm avoiding the bubble shield on this one, guys. Still don't want to get that involved at this point. Simply put, the power requirements that I'd have to pump into that thing are not feasible on this grid at the moment. And with azimuth reactors having been acting very funky in regards to bubble shielding lately, I'm a little on the hesitant side to go throwing that in. Still a little burned from unquap on that. It's a half-height block here, basically, at worst. So let's just kind of lock it up for now and figure out what to do later. Maybe it means I need to build a room over here of some sort. Not 100% certain. I mean, if I go that route, I can work with blast door blocks in that section. It just won't be a... Hang on a tick. Could make this work. It's a blast door block with a side inset. Don't need that much more out of that piston displacement to get that. I can stick a room up there, like a control room or something, for arrivals and departures. Rotor. Adjusting this from the wrong angle. Alright, let's see what happens. That should be enough to get clearance. The main section of the door is still clear, and you have clearance. So if I build out something that kind of juts out a little bit here, and use these blast door blocks that I've got, then I only have to build them out so far, and then I'll be outside of the rotational space of the door too. So if I do that and tell the door to open, at this point I'm outside of that worry. So then we can just end this like so. That part still, see that in operation with the rotation. Here's your swing point here. You cross under this block, so that still needs to be, but you might be fine. Yeah, air tightness is definitely not a concern on this grid. It's not going to work at all, so that's the other thing about having that bubble shield. Yeah, I could go for air tightness, but it's an industrial facility. It actually potentially makes more sense if it's not trying to be airtight. Okay, you're connected on that end, so we can... And that block never actually... Yeah, because I can... Nope, nope, nope. Let's give it a 1 block safety margin here. Something like that would be... Question is, will it let me seal... And do that one. That's the one I'm looking for. Coloring's a bit off, but I mean, so is the door itself. This should still open and close without a problem. Nope. Not with that block present. And if I have the upper edge of that finished off in any way, then that one's not going to work. So, yep. Just got to be the whole thing. I'm not going to build it out so ridiculously far from the base that it doesn't make any sense. Turn off that center of gravity too, or center of mass. I mean, I could also have just designed the door to come straight out here. Make it a straight out run and make this less blunt of an end. Make it a sharper corner on here and just have 2 doors that end there, but that would look kind of cheesy. I like the effect of having that kind of door sitting back under a little bit of a lip like that. And I'm trying to think how the middle's going to work out there. Need that straight up down line without getting... Kinda need a piece that doesn't exist. technically it does. It would be sort of this piece but inverted. It's not gonna work.
Inventory full.
So place that counterpart on the ceiling, it's not gonna work. It juts out too far. This, but in half block form. So kind of like if I was doing it out of armor. Not that. But like that. That's obviously not going to work because it's way too... Actually, no, because there is no clearance on the top side of that. Or we can make that work. We can. We have technology. Use the right blocks.
Inventory full.
So just have a little bit of a lip on it is all, basically. Which, that's okay. I'm fine with that. Just hopefully... Oof. This is going to be a very interesting door when it closes up, I'm realizing. You needed somebody to play with you. No, I'm good. A diagonal door seam with you guys will help. That.
Inventory full.
So there'll be a tiny little gap on the inside at least. Because this is going to be a potential clang point here, that edge. Dang, I do love how that looks. And it kind of gives me a reason to actually disrupt the whole look and feel of this thing a little bit. It's not a consistent dome through the whole thing. Break up the lines a little bit here, you know? I don't want to break that line up. Yeah, we'll just go for the simple transition. There. That gives me, I can fit kind of the, what I was saying earlier about not having any lights on the roof, that kind of takes care of that point. I have one less solar grid that I've got to worry about aligning up, so... And I've got to way into the dome from the outside if I have to. Or have to come in from a different angle. Alright, let's find that rotor. So we've got that. Now for the fun part. Oh boy.
Inventory full.
Are you ready for this one, base? Okay, so default angle 0. We're going to be rotating out to a positive 90. Alright. Rotor. Numero 3, which is now going to become door rotor 1. Are starting at a lower limit of 0, you're going to rotate out to your positive 90. Displacement on 2 was 27.5. Oh, it's very nice and precise. Not being that silly. All right, yeah. That sets it up right. I don't like that. Why is... I know the sun... freaking me out there. I was seeing the sun move. I'm like, oh my god, it's going insane already. It's not even in use technically, and it's already about ready to fall apart. Wrap it up, wrap it up. It's not working. Bail out, bail out. No, it's just the sun moving so fast. Because it's trying to tell me, Farrell, you need to hurry up because you're going to have to start worrying about lighting again in a little bit. It's nice to hear the whatchamacallit working so well that every time I build something, I can hear the assemblers clicking into action. Alright, now for the moment of truth. Yeah, so we'll have a straight line there, and then we won't have anything in that gap, and I'm okay with that. So far, so good. Let's... Can I get my blocker points in without that piece? Nope. Oh, that's not the right one.
Inventory full.
Imagine if good AI was monitoring your block input and decided at various times to say, are you really sure you meant to build it that way? I don't think you meant to build it that way. This violates Merrick's style vision. That would be a rage quit right there for sure. Okay, now I need my edges here. Actually, that's right, we don't. Not on... No, we do need them on the top. What am I saying? Top was fine, it was the bottom that was binding. Left side, please. There's something about that side I was worried about. Nope. Not binding there. Okay. You're free to go, sir. Move about your business. Alright. Door. Rotor. Let's get your speeds right. 1 RPM. This is going to start it moving technically, but it's going to get bound potentially. No. It forced its way around just fine. I wonder, do I have a setup that might actually let me get away with this? .90, current angle 0. So that's the one that's open currently. So door rotor 1 is the one we want. So you get your reverse, and let's open the other door. This is the next potential point for Clang to rear his ugly head, is when I try to close these guys simultaneously. Still think he could build the wall, not the door, out to the door on the bottom. Could build the wall out. Build the wall, not the door, out to the door on the bottom. I've lost you there. There's a train of thought somewhere there, and it's completely went around the station and missed me completely. Alright. Oh. Oh my... You know that crash that happened last week, guys? It's just done it again. Also, power apparently just blipped here too, which may have had a bit of a hand in it, but the UPS kicked in. Looks like everything's good, but the game is... My mouse is here. I can't turn off stuff. I can get things to come up in the game, but it's saying, nope. Try to have a good start here. Try reload. Let's see if it works. The second time that's happened on this world too, and it was just with me moving around. I'm worried about that one. Shouldn't be anything that would be causing that kind of a weird crash. And it's not really even a crash to that point either. The game's still functioning. Just for some reason, all input to it stops working. Who knows? The wall on the bottom to the door instead of the door to the wall. So you're saying make the wall itself have the offset blast door parts instead of the door. I'm thinking about that one. Where would the problem be? Clearance on both sides. The rotor offset would have to be in the middle. Versus having the double offset with the extra offset at the top. It could work that way too, yeah. Is that battery not holding a charge either? What's going on here? Oh. Yeah, that's just keen power indication for you now. Either that or just how fast I'm managing to go through the power on those things. Alright. Let's try our moment of terror now that I don't have... Unless the game's going to choose to lock up again. Door rotors. Home doors. I do need to put some lights on this too. Potential clang point incoming. Okay, so long as one of them wins, we got scraping going along all along the bottom here, despite there being plenty of clearance on that, but that's probably Keen's stupid little armor strip things, corners on the edge, binding up. It does eventually get there? Could actually just kind of put an armored edge to the doors like that. I'll still have this problem though, because there's no half version of that block. Alright. Let's try. Reverse. Spectator camera in position to see what's going on. Definitely not gonna be able to fly out in time to see it. Oh, come on. Am I not in... Oh, right. Because Keen, heaven forbid you want to put a button where you want to put a button. Proper lineup. Nope. I was kind of hoping that would eventually figure itself out, but apparently no. Those guys binding up. My nice little clever thing doesn't work. Alright, same deal. Right, thank you, Keen, because, you know, not being able to turn the spectator camera on in F7 mode is helpful. Okay, so we just have this tiny little gap we somehow have to find a way to plug up without plugging it up. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Archangel, is using a timer block. My gut doesn't want to do that, though. My gut is saying, no. These must open normally. Actually, no, I kind of like the sparks I'm getting off of that grid right now, to be honest with you. That's starting to grow on me, because that's very much bay door opening, closing, warning, flashing light kind of thing, almost in the dark. Yeah, so the problem with that binding is I can't have the surfaces that close. So, what I would have to do... Or do I just leave it open? Don't mind that gap there, it's this one that's throwing me. But there's just nothing that fits the need for that there, so... For the time being, Bucktooth. I don't want to get stuck on these doors forever and a day here. So, let's figure out what we got going on here. You... do a cut over here. Put it on one side only. Yeah, I could. It'd just look a little weirder than having at least a symmetrical opening. I mean, worst case scenario is I could always stick a piston in here and drop down a piece ever so slightly into this area. So, actually, you know what? Heck with it. Let's do it. Game, you're back to this, yeah, now my toolbar advancement's not working. Do it the old-fashioned way. Period and combo no longer change your toolbars ahead or behind by one. What do I get for dare invoking the name of the dreaded piston? Alright, give me... blast door block for that. Alright, I need to retract that ever so slightly. AKA... not that, no, nope. Nope, where's the... didn't we used to have that? I swear I remember actually having a, piston head offset. Get rid of it. Shall have to place it. Hang on a tick. Hey, whoa. Stop right there. I just saw some shenanigans going on here. So that's the top part. That's the bottom part. I swear I saw the piston top get taken out. Like the... I'm not crazy, guys. I tell you, I'm not crazy. Nah, I must have seen the top side of the head disappearing. Alright, yep, I'm crazy. That Pharaoh, he's so crazy. It's not gonna work. I need you to place higher than that if you could. This piston is not gonna like that. Turn it. Higher than that, please. Yeah, kind of like a little bit of a lock. Exactly. So I'm kind of thinking... come in and do... just something to hide piston from the outside of the bridge area. It is absolutely going to hate this every time I do this, which is the fun part. You... nah, from there. I'll have to do it from... arg. Let's see. Let's make sure we know what piston that is. Where else do I have a piston on any of these grids? Piston number 5, so that is door piston number 5 now. So when do I have multiple pistons? Where is that piston? It's out there somewhere. It's locked and it's... oh, that's the docking piston. Building connection piston. That's what that is. Alright. Reverse. 2.2 meters. Okay, almost there. 2. Perfect. So let's see, we... not so much, actually not even so much of a lock as it is just something to fill that gap from the inside. So let's swing the doors. You're not gonna let me build that there at all. Why? I can build you, but I cannot build you, even though you have a connection point. Straight up that door. I give up trying to understand this game sometimes. I really do. Wrong direction. We want it doors closing in on it and this sitting in the back. Like so. Now these may even still close up normally. I doubt it, but they could. What's the worst could happen? Subgrid clanging into subgrid. I'm sure everything will be fine. I mean, this is sitting well behind it, honestly. This could even just be a normal block in here, but I'd like to be able to retract it when flying in, because, you know, big, sharp, daggery-like thing sticking out makes me a little nervous. Does that look any better from the front? A little better. They do technically not clang. And then as far as this goes... set our maximum distance to 2 and our minimum distance to 0. And revoice. Revoice. This is the part where Mr. Farrell acknowledges that these blocks are probably not helping. Because, yeah. Okay. Don't worry, we have blast door blocks that might be able to help us in this situation too. We can do a corner inset on those. Just these two are potentially binding it.
Inventory full.
Problem number 1.
Inventory full.
Problem number 2. Still don't want to pull it back. What the? Literally because of that. Ooh. Okay, extend it down, a piston down, and raise it up. Well, yeah, actually I can try seeing if maybe it'll let me get through with this at the point. Let's give you a maximum distance of 2.2. No, it is completely hung up on the grid. Wow. Velocity's not helping. Give it more of an impulse to try to get it to move, but we're already getting into the red zone there before too long. You are absolutely and utterly insisting. I have eliminated all blocks. I've also probably detached you from the grid at this point, haven't I? Fortunately, it was wedged in there. Good grief. Alright. Door piston should be going no further than 2.0. Verse it. There's no way that's 2. Now you're telling me you're basically hitting the doors there. Need to... I thought there's an overlay I could put on that would show me the collision boxes on these guys, but I think it's in the debug only. You actually extended 2, because I doubt it. Oh, you are. Okay. Never mind. There we go. You're not going to go any further than 2.2, huh? Huh? Yep. That's what I thought. I was wondering why that wasn't drawing back very far. Okay, let's grab those blocks that we had then. These should be perfectly safe to place there. Actually, put those in yet. I need to fix the inside rail of that first. Those need to be corners, and there is one of those right here. All right, yeah, because it doesn't have the clearance on the bottom. Great, googly moogly. Oh, that's one heck of a challenge, isn't it? Let's just go with the tried and true. It's got clear. If you guys are having problems with the stream, you might have to reload the stream. Everything on mine, I'm showing no drop frames, so unfortunately, I just hate doing that because inevitably it's like, no, I'm trying to just ignore your problem, but no, there is no problem on mine, unfortunately. You know what? Heck with it. Be a bit silly with this. Here, let me place this one. No. Yay. It's the proper block there. I'll have to build more of the deck out in the back there. I don't mind having a little bit of weird oddball detail built up in here. We can make use of that somehow. Ugh, no we can't. Nope. Just doesn't look right. Don't look right. It's unnatural. Alright. Yeah, we can certainly do proper corners here, here. Yeah, and not in the back just yet, but... oddest way I've ever had to go about trying to rig up blast door blocks to make this sort of thing work. Because theoretically, I should be able to place that inner door here. That's the part I don't get. I mean, this is straight up vanilla mechanics we're talking about here. I'm not even using a modded block for that. So that one you'll let me place. Something about these blocks just does not want to let those corners by, though. Well, there's part of my problem. Turn that one the wrong way. Nope. Feeks. Actually, I should swap that for something a bit also potentially less intrusive. It's a vanilla box, but it doesn't make any sense that it's the vanilla box that's... The blast... This is not anything out of the ordinary for blast door clearance. But it's absolutely refusing to let me place the corner in, which has the clearance to fit in that area. It's not that block, because this is the same thickness down to the door. And I guess what I can do is just separate the doors and... See if I can place them once the doors are open. But yeah, it's not... It's this block somehow is preventing that corner from placing correctly. I know for a fact that has the right clearance, and that one places just fine. Yeah, I know you're talking the vanilla blocks and the piston, but it's... I know that collision mesh for that block should be allowing that through. Just to see if we get the piston out of the way. That'll help. See now, suddenly, magically, I can place it. Because I got the blocks out of the way. But then the problem is... From a model standpoint, that shouldn't be a collision problem. Ergo, is that block not properly modeled? Yeah, because now this thing won't even budge. Oh, Keen. All right. So I survived with that quarter because of the way the vanilla blocks are working. Please pause whilst I adjust the salt meter. Also, I love how that's a valid placement for that block, even though it's not technically supposed to be attached to anything there. What did I just attach it to? Gotta be touching something, right? All this just so I can raise a block ever so slightly out of the way to dock a ship. But make it look pretty when the door is closed. Also, 14% health left from giving something a slam at about the speed you might hit a closed door at if you're trying to do breaking and entry. Okay. The med packs, right? Yeah, they're there. Oh, ho, ho. I saw that piston shudder there. Wow. Okay. You know what? Let's just not use those. Do the smart thing. It doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to look... Yeah, doors. Come on. Dome doors. Flip them open. And... It's supposed to be closed on two sides. Where's your two side? Have a two side on the top. There we go. Because you know what? That will do the job just as well. Aha! No piston jerkiness. And from the outside, it appears good. So now for the fun thing. Can I... I'm gonna need a timer block on that. So I'm gonna trigger them both together. Let's see if I'm doing... Should be safe there. Doesn't have to be an overly complicated timer block, it's just going to do a reverse. Wondering if Bob was going to catch up there. For a second I was worried. Alright, now for my mortal nemesis. Oops. Reverse and... piston, door piston, reverse. Should be good. Door timer block, trigger now. It's already gone up as far as it can go. Really feel safe because I don't think that's withdrawing quite as much as I'd hoped. Okay, that's not too bad. It feels a little uncomfortably close, but I can live with it. I mean, if I make any bigger of a system, it's going to not fit with the roof line here. As it is, this is going to kind of be a little weird. Something like... that doesn't... yeah, it has a weird roof line that I've got going on here. It's like centered but not centered in a weird way. Just because the longer side that I'm working with on that. It'll stick out a little bit, but it shouldn't look too much. Yeah, I think it's... now, this is probably going to be one of those things that I'm going to look at out of the corner of my eye and always kind of be like, I want to do something better, but don't have a good sense of what I could do to make it better. In fact, that corner itself doesn't even fit right. I know it's wrong. It's because I haven't done this. That's why it looks off. That isn't the proper front. That's the proper front to it. Also not the right block I need. Where did I stick? Last door for... yaw. Oh, what I would give to have my period and dot, my period and comma working again. Not one. Heck, we'll just put it back on the block. Or over did I go with you? All the way to the ramp. That's why that roof was off. Now, this side is definitely incorrecto. This corner set up right, or it's gonna drive me batty. So you're gonna be the slope. You're going to be that piece. 8, that, and that. There we go. No, it's some. I'm not 100% symmetrical because otherwise I would then be mirroring this door over on that side. If I was being really super symmetrical, I'd be mirroring the door over there and over there. But I do like there to be a certain sense of symmetry, especially when I've got a door that's splitting right down the middle of the corner point. Granted, this is now technically off, and it's been driving me a little nuts seeing the door grate over it, and the spark's not starting on that side, but starting on that side, but that at least gets the idea here. And then you. So we can close that up properly. Unknown signal, why that could be anything. Could even be something that would lure me away from my base to have something to spawn on top of it. Nice try. All for Badger Welder. Okay, so the block has gone back down for the center door, I think. Oh, maybe, possibly. No, it hasn't. What is your malfunction now? Still at... Okay, now you're lined up properly for the grouping. That's why. Had them off for the overall group. That should take advantage of that. Actually, let's line up, switch to spectator, grab the spectator camera. F7, reverse. What is... Timer block. What's your deal? Reverse, and dome doors reverse. This isn't rocket science. Bleepity bleep. First, go through and trigger all actions, right? It's the way the timer blocks are supposed to work. Let's look at it from this side. On the reverse control. Maybe I slipped and went over to the door control, who knows? But that is... Oh, that is not set right. Is indeed on that. I did not switch you over to use the timer block. That's why. Derp! The derpiness is strong in Feral tonight. No, get rid of... Why can't they make remove from toolbar the first option in the list? I think that makes some sense. So I'm expecting to go all the way down through everything. Alright. Let's see, proper opening this time. Okay. Much better. Yeah, I'm not worrying about lighting just yet. I was worried more about the functionality. Now I need to get back to lighting for certain. Love to have lights under the doors, but... I'd have to tear apart this level and put in the blast doors at that level too, to make that work. I think it'd really still spark up a storm. Let's talk lighting. I don't want to touch a blast door block for another long while. Lights. We've got... Navigation lights are kind of perfect for this. One on the bottom of that, one on the bottom of that, one on the bottom of that. Right off the bat. We run some more on that corner. And I can set those all up in the group to turn on. So that way, if I set them up in a blink and turn them on when they open and turn them off when they turn off, or the doors close, that would work. Except now I want to do another timer block to make them delay and turning off until the door is finished closing, but then turn on the second that you trigger them to go. And oh my god. Barrel, it's a bunch of doors. This is relaxing survival, not make it look hideously functional theater. Let's see about those nav lights. Density 0.5, fall off, max it out, radius. Make them a little brighter than your ordinary nav lights. But at least you'll see them going in. Kind of even... Just as I said, I didn't want to touch another blast door for a while. There's you. That's a bit better. No, no. Resist it. I must resist adding more blocks to that door. There's greebling, and then there's... Well, there's the block greebling, and then there's the functionality greebling, aka the... I'm going to set up multiple complex actions to take care of this thing, this event that's happening. Keeping in mind that to even open this door, you have to be on the grid because I can't run antennas because of all those guys up there. So, the functional value of doing everything I'm doing is pretty minimal, I'd have to say. Alright, roof lighting. Now that it's dark again, probably about ready to turn daylight. Oh hey, my period and comma are now working again, mysteriously. I mean, how? How do you manage to do this? I'm actually thinking I could borrow the lighted passage extensions on this. It has the look of something that could go on... No. There you go. That would sit on top of a roof. Those, find a weird way to use blocks that don't necessarily fit with how they've been used before. I can work with that. Not necessarily as the authoritative light source, but... What's that block I'm thinking of? Where is it? Darn, can't remember where it is. Something that would have looked like a light that I could have used in there. 3, plop down another light. Alright, let's address this. Rank it up. .5 on that. Ceiling light. Drop the offset so it's at the level of the block. Slightly bluish cast to reinforce the color of the building. Yeah, Joshua, I could literally try to set the range of the antenna down, but I mean, let me put it this way, I've got 100 on the grids over there, 100/200. Actually, it does technically mean I could, actually no, that's beacon only. Got an actual antenna left at this point. Yeah, I don't even think I have any antennas up. I could, but the second I turn on that antenna, regardless of when I get it down, there's no way I can get into the control panel quick enough to get it offline before every single grid in the area is going to find out I'm here. Not a problem with the civilian ships so much, the military ships, those junkers that pass through every now and then. Alright, we're getting somewhere here. Gonna do with this part. Should be able to place that. Okay. Tonight, the part of Feral will be played by Dazed and Confused. And to mirror that curve on the outer edge of the platform on the inside. And just for a little bit of that. What light source is that near? Ceiling light somehow shining through? I need to leave that offset on there. I don't, because it shows up too much on that the passage ceiling there, but maybe it is getting through. Yeah. That's a refill time, for sure. If only just to fill that back up. How did I... Wow. That was sheer luck that I noticed that. And... find me some bottles. Because I didn't fill them up before I started the episode, and usually I do. Because it was taking so long to load the world. Alright. So I know I'm getting the lighting in there from the lights on that part of the ceiling. But where is this coming from? That's set to a 0.5 offset, which is above the block. It's why there's... You can see in the gloss reflection off the material there, the light has been moved up to about here, where my cursor is. But... how... Uh-oh. Carrier Exodus has noticed a nearby signal. So the military has... what's going on up there? Quick cambot, get me rocket number 9. Something be going on, and I don't quite understand what. Did it engage the mobile station? Ow. I got plastered. One antenna damaged. To hit a programming block or something. It's definitely been shot up. Look at that, even the reactor is taking some hits there. Not completely defenseless, but I smell salvage. Not worried about that space station being over there, but... that gun's certainly down. Whole side's down. The grid stopped. What are you? Debris out in space. Some ice. Ah. That's why you're probably drifting. I bet you don't have any hydrogen left or power left. attacked. Low drift. That's what I'd love to do, is actually have a genuine recon drone I send up to do this sort of thing, but it wouldn't survive on an antenna, let alone all of that. It's definitely doing some damage. It's not exactly fully safe to approach from that side, but it's better. Oh, you know what this means. Salvage ship scramble. Just as soon as I unload this thing. Do I have a port on the bottom? No, I don't. Vector and conveyor tube. This is by no means ideal way to do it, but it will work. Because it's pitch black in here. Well, not completely pitch black, but dark enough that... Lock it up. Alright. Ship. Components. Hide empties. Holy crap. 5 uranium each? You are empty, apparently. 2.5K, and you want me to... Oh. Come on, fill me back up. Okay, you're gonna be that kind of annoyance. Right. Him into my personal inventory, please. Thank you. Detach. Okay. Why am I... Did I manage to lock gears? Yep, I was that close. Okay, before I go anywhere else, load that into my inventory, please. Avoid all that piss and nonsense, have the doors fit with no gap. You just go back to where you grounded off the top two door blocks and add them to the outside of the doors instead. That's also true, yep. Alright, I gotta be careful which way I approach this wreck from. And before I forget... Closer to that Argo. That's out there too. Salt Raven out there. I think I got too close. Okay, nope. That's a big nope. Argo's moving in on the Exodus. Nope, 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 nope. That's a gun battle I don't intend to get in at the moment. Other ship also pieced out. I can hear a Gatling fire, which is not making me any happier either. Oh, there we go. Here's firing on the Argo. And the Argo just despawned. Oh, that's the camera zoom I'm hearing. Okay. I didn't realize it did the Gatling ammo noise. Yeah, we know that Top Gun's still firing. Capable of firing. That side is the one that's been all shot up. Good angle on that gun. But too late, my friend. For I am here, and my bobs are very hungry. Feast, my children, feast. It is a Doomba-esque ship. It is a bit beefier than the Doomba, in that it actually has more cargo storage, which I have yet to actually manage to fill up completely in a while. Could do it on this one, because this one's a lot of heavy armor, if I remember right. Let's see if we can get some more of the front first. Oh, fine. I'll get out of your way of the silly little interior turret. Wait, that thing's got good range. I know it's not anything sneaking up on me. I mean, there is that spurt antenna that's out there, but he's staying just far enough away to not be a problem, I believe. Well, the power's definitely on that grid, so that's not a problem anymore. Interesting. And that spurt ship that was sitting out there, like literally seconds ago, is... No, he's there. Okay. He's just not rendering in properly for whatever reason, or he's just a very dark hull. Spooky. I think if I remember right, Lemon Square's actually got a slightly higher per... slightly larger number of bobs on board. But just because I've got the extra storage on board to handle it too. So I wanted to bring that extra power along with me, except you're still not splitting that out. Just chuck that in there. Sure that the reactors can get to it. I have to check NDS's settings. I'm not too thrilled with that uranium distribution. It's a little low for small reactors, in my opinion. Yeah, at least we knew that we needed some more glass, so I certainly picked up a little bit of that off the bridge of this thing. And everything else just goes into its constituent components. There's the glass. Get that debris out of my sky. And speaking of getting out of my sky, let's I don't think I want to keep that around too much longer. Give it a good launch. As much as I would love to actually eat the entire meal, a lot of grids right now. Actually, the lit up part of the top of the dome there kind of looks like almost like a landing strip from here. Actually, a pretty good effect on it. Yep, that works. Okay. If I can fly a fully laden lemon square in, that will do just fine. So yeah, I could still absolutely go with the outside of the doors here, just replace this with that equivalent flipped upside down, but yeah. I don't like the idea of having a little bit of like a key lock in that door, basically. Neat look to it. May not be optimal, it may not be perfect, but find that little bit of weirdness and you find an interesting solution for it. And of course the sun goes up. I mean, it kind of makes you think there's going to be another column back behind this thing, but then when you open the door and suddenly find out, aha, there isn't. Probably should do, though, is change the speed on that a little. Yeah, that's going to be a better look for it. Comes up too quickly for the door at the moment. Alright, before we were so crazily interrupted by some salvage opportunity on the fly, build something up here. Oh, now comes the fun part. I don't really have any good curved... There's no really good windows that are on a diagonal. Oh, come on, game. Don't lock up on me there. What did you just spawn in? Tell me, game, where did the bad spawning touch you? Oh, wow, that's a big convoy up there. Yeah, I bet I know I can get some of those. Yeah, that looks good. And we'll continue that slope of the hull for that part. Is it the Bob's component priority, or is it set to grind all? It is set to primarily, well, I think it's default settings, honestly. I don't think I've got it actually set to anything other than the default order. The only difference is I have it set to near instead of furthest first. Okay, let's do what I want to do to hide that piston. I could, if I had better half-height transitions, I'd just actually drag it out and do something like that on top of it, which I still could. Still want to work a little bit of lighting in here, or not lighting, something to let some upward light through. Some light. Sunlight? Some light. I guess I'd like some summy D, please. That's not the right way around, is it? You're weird like that. Got OJ, purple stuff, Summy D. What the heck is Summy D? Drink that all mathematicians love. Loved by many. Gotta play with the curve on this a little bit. Alright, let's carry this out a little bit further, and I should have anything just for side transition. Nope, 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 no. But I have to admit, I'm liking that a bit more.
Inventory full.
Actually getting a fair bit of lag right now. A lot of stuff up there, but it's far enough away, they're not fighting each other. Weird. Kind of split up the transition a little bit, I guess. And even get a little bit of double duty out of these. So I have some indoor lighting and some outdoor lighting. That, which now just leaves... I would love to use the armored windows. They would kind of look interesting, but when you get big rows of them, they don't really work. The armored windows aren't bad. They're sort of still basically just paneled windows on the side. Offsets don't work. Well, none of these work in a single block. I really want to stay away from those. Yes, we're kind of really looking at potentially the cube windows here. Weird transitioning it like that, but something I'm gonna try with these. Kind of repeat that little inside motif that I've got going on. Need to get the blocks behind out of the way if we can. Actually managed to block up all my ways in on that side. I did. That's a good start. Finally getting that taken care of.
Inventory full.
They're plotting up there. They're out to get me. They're always out to get me, Lucky Charms. Doors. Door. Farrell needs a door. Farrell needs some more door mods, honestly. That's what he needs. Tint both sides. Girders? Well, why didn't you say so? Sure, I've got some on this lovely little ship here. Sure, I've got next to no inventory room on it, but... Ah, that's right. Put a transition and then go to here. Ooh. Actually, no, that works because I got that right there. Okay. Kinda. Yeah, I'll just do the same thing I did further down the hall there. And a slight change in wall. Not a bad vista going on out there. Pretty good view of approach lanes into this installation, and really need to do is just have some catwalks out here for people to land on. Well, something for people to land on. Alright, YoH. Let's see if I can give you a shot on this one. Not letting me mount to that point. Feeling a bit creative today. Catwalks. Just a little weirdish. Ooh, could I? Could I? No, Chris, there's no way this is ever going to be airtight. Not with all the voxels this is built into. I wouldn't even think of trying to make that a challenge. Bad. Question is, can I make that work? Can I get a docking port up in there? Because this is kind of an interesting spot. I could have a dock off of here. Could almost come down over the spot there, and potentially be in a good spot that, you know, from up here I can just do that. And to boot, let's even throw med station on that wall so I can heal up. I think there's a way to tie this into the cargo network in here, but there really isn't from there. This is going to require me to put a connector at an odd angle, so Having solved one immediate cast around corner challenge, now I'm in another one. Go for the front. There's nothing special about that red connector. I should even just fix that. Should be a large grid block about there. A rotor, it has to be an advanced rotor. Yeah, let's try for it. Let's see what we can do here. Rough this out to start with. Rotor at that level. Looks eminently doable, actually. So just do that and the connector on the end of it. Yeah, that should fit. Alright, let's figure out how to get a cargo container over here, or a cargo network. Let's see, I'm hesitant to run anything off of that mess. Do you have an uncapped section at this end that we could extend out? It's an advantage of having all this room to build a network in at this point. I don't have to worry about anything as far as any of the structure that's been built. I'll have to force myself to build around it later. Hey, Kalen. Yeah, I'm not having a bad day. Hopefully you are. Cat walks? You also want dog walks? Let's see from there, huh? In fact, I'll leave myself another uncapped section over there intentionally. Or, no, curved. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. And now this time he took out my grinder. Thank you, game. Please may I have another. Do our advanced rotor here. Switch over to plain old conveyor for this one. On that. Little on the high side, but I'm not going to worry about too much to need a piston, honestly. Turn left to... turn it right. Fix that now, honestly. Sure. 0, upper limit. 5. Breaking torque, get it up there. Ho, 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 ho. That's slick right there. Alright. Won't be lined up perfectly on the catwalk, but... that's gonna be... close as near as making no difference. Got a lock, yep. Locked. It'll be nice and give me a entry point. Damps are off. Rockets are off. Yep. Not exactly perfect, but yeah, I can live with that. Gives me a reason to have a funky sort of shaped catwalk system up here. Needs some repainting too. It should be. Save some of that blue for elsewhere in this station, please. Alright, so we've got a little area to bring in our lovely miner. Well, not miner, our erstwhile Bob. And should I need it, emergency supplies there, if I do. Technically also gives me a reason to pull in something there. And what is sparking over here? Why are you sparking? Yeah, I saw you sparking away, game. Don't lie to me. I could see it. Right there. And really being that picky now. Heaven forbid we have two connectors touching while they're locked. Okay, so a little harder, trickier to get into and out of, but I can always extend the catwalk if I need to. Alright, so we've got that part. Why? Piston. Yo. It's not helping matters. Come on. Our son out of there. Okay. Well, that was it wasn't exactly something I was planning to do to the industrial dome, but it really does make sense to keep him parked over here. We need power generation over here, guys. I've got a lot of hungry machines and everything, so definitely something to think about. Dickie, just answer your comment. Not something I plan on doing, putting turrets on the roof. The base here is defended by turrets on the perimeter of the base that can all easily fire into the base area, so I don't want to put turrets on the roof because this place has already been bombed once, and if I want to have ships shooting at stuff, I'd rather have them actually out in the yard, so to speak. Let them play out with the turrets. Or if they want to come shoot this building, then they can sit in the crossfire of currently 3 turrets and soon to be more. Oh, that's perfect. That gives me a good floor level to work with here. Because that's something else I do want to address, is building out the connection down here a little bit. Wow, the game's even letting me get away with that, which that, oof, that's close. I can't ask for anything better there. And they don't have bubble shields anyways, too, is the other thing. I'm running energy shields only. Alright, this gets me a start. Let's talk reactor building. What do we have on hand? We have... Oh wow, it's been a long time since I've seen the EE enhanced reactor. I wonder if this is still even working. Your cargo port's on the bottom, and that's it. Work with that. I would have to... Let's anchor that up there temporarily. And switch you over. Actually, that four-way cross is good for that spot there. That one actually does do the rotation properly. Weird. E curved corner, tube, tube, junction, junction. Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't have the right one. Straight, please. Straight through. Place down the line here as I need to. Maybe about here and here. Time being. Like I said, I have no idea if these reactors even work, how much power they're going to give me, if I can even build them. Do they have any weirder parts? Nope. Stock parts. Too bad. Just a lot of parts to put into them, that's all. Just to give me a little bit of a variety in look down here. Alright, you got a panel anywhere is about Sonya? Aha, you do. Aha, I missed the ledge. Uses fuel, MG fuel cell component. Okay, so this is kind of like backup reactor in a ways. What does it take to do a fuel cell component? Iron ingot and magnesium powder. Oh, okay. That's not bad. I'm kind of short on magnesium, but... Well, I'm short on magnesium there. Let's... Yeah, I am kind of short on magnesium. Eee. Have to do some mining pretty soon for that. Alright, so those are kind of like backup generators for the base. That's a good start. Especially if I ever run out of uranium. Pretty easy to... Those azimuths... Give me that annoying green glow that drives me absolutely batty. It's kind of sticky down towards this end of the cavern. Okay, that's where the game's largest runs out then on trying to fit into... Alright, I can live with that. still pretty close lineup on that. Fact. Don't trust the game. $10 says the next time I loaded, that was going to clang out, honestly. Here's something in the background that sounded a bit clangy. Alright, let's do... drop supplies into those. Kind of feeling a little bit nostalgic here for the ground base. Just want some tubes. Give me some pipes. Oh, you should have tube. I thought you had an adapter on those. Where the heck is it? There it is. Straight up adapter into that.
Inventory full.
Key section. Perfect. Going to actually manage to avoid having this base set up in such a way that the cargo networks are all connected through everything. Because that's just a tree, that's just a tree. Everything in here is treed off of each other, so I shouldn't be having any problems with networks being weirdly run through things that suddenly the game decides not to transfer stuff through. So that should help the power output problem. No, concern at very least. Let's throw in a little bit more MA heavy bridge stuff here. 'Cause I can. Slide behind it. You and actually, let's go for that and that. So we have a supervisor position overlooking the auxiliary reactors. Power ETA, ooh yeah, I'm glad I got that. Those reactors up and going. Holy moly. It's running all over the place. 15 hours to... Hang on. Power usage 0? That doesn't seem right. Well, I'm keeping that connection to the other grid. That's as far down as it needs to go, honestly, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it is pretty deep down, so... Also realizing there is a bit of a disadvantage to me doing things down here, because I could be drawing enemies a bit tighter in, so let's make sure... Got one last section here to worry about. I don't want to do something different with that. Now, there's one other ship that could potentially dock in here. I did design it from a purely aesthetic standpoint of the idea of you would drop your ore off out in that sluice area, it would get sorted, thrown into the foundry over here, courtesy of Mr. Splitsy's lava, and get further refined into the with the refineries over there. But as far as mining ship entrance goes, we're missing something there.
Inventory full.
Bring on the rotors again. It's the worst that could happen. It actually won't be too bad, I hope. This one's going to be a bit more vanilla design. Let's see. Good old 8. Ugh. Yeah, that rotor offset's got to be fixed. This is going to be the cat flap rotor. Placement, can we bring that back as far as we can at the moment? So I can get the block in play. However, this one's going to be a fun one with angles. So there is that. Alright, you. That's about... Take you back probably about 25 degrees. Limit 25. No, negative 25, right? Because it's going the other way. Don't want it to open inwards. I want that to open outwards. Got lots of braking torque. No, the other way, please. Oh, right. Reverse. I mean, I could have it open inwards. Probably should set a different limit on that, shouldn't I? You're just gonna keep going and going and going. But, Keen, could you... There's out of limits. Just get me down to a 0. All will be well. That's your 0 starting point. Thank you. But you rotate in a good direction that I can actually work with. For the time being. Hey! You know, just about spot on. So if I'd set it up properly in the first place, that wouldn't be the problem, because that just needs to be negative 25. That needs to be negative 35. That should open up a little bit past horizontal. That's good. Oh, that's right. This block doesn't exist. Darn you, game. Oh, well. Maybe it'll exist someday. by ones on the outside. I feel like I need a really big cannon to stick out this flap now. At the very least, I'm going to need some lighting, that's for sure. Yikes. That little cat flap's more than enough. So let's... I think we can finally admit that we don't need to keep that one around anymore. Had a control button or a control station out here for this stuff, but I had to get rid of it. Tape 2. That, and really do need to find a good set of closed stairs beyond the vanilla. That'll do for now. Yeah, that grid needs some more lights on the outside. That almost looks a little evil at this point right now, with the sun behind it like that. Needs a sensor to open for the cat, yeah. It's actually not a bad idea. Alright, so let's get a button panel out here. We'll control the cat flap through that, and the main door as well. I think I still have... Yep, that'd be that sucker. Oh! I think I need to move the button panel one block further out. That seems like a bit of a problem. That it's, yeah. I don't think the door should be pulling you up into the air when it opens. That's probably a bad thing. Alright, open closed on that, and cat flap rotor reverse. Some blocks at the front there that we lost in attack, but no big deal. Easy enough to replace those. Works. Yeah, I'm not going to begrudge the tiny little bit of stuff there. That's no big deal. Still need some lighting there, though. Especially if I'm going to be flying a ship in, under, around, or near that. Go leave it dark color. Alright. We should have that door opening properly now. Yeah, if I'd left it there, it'd be smacking into me, which would have been funny. Yeah, I know it's clipping through the floor, but it actually looks better when it's like that, so... That's why I have it designed with a long ramp sticking out the front. The corner lights need... which ones were they? They're on this grid. Or not only the ones I can see then. Alright. Presumably... and 11. Up. Pull out 8. That's better. Now if I get into the ambient occlusion, I can actually see the building. Be a little more different when it's dark and I don't have sunlight shining around everywhere, but gets it off to a good start. We've got a door for that. We've got a cat flap for the mining ship to come through. It's got nowhere to dock at the moment either, but do feel better about having space for it. Like butter. I want to have you dock up. Kind of makes sense to actually kind of wind that catwalk down along here. Let's scaffold that up. Tee that section off, and everything will be good. And that's probably what we're going to wind up calling it for tonight's stream, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize for ending a few minutes early, but unfortunately, like I said at the start of the stream, I've got commitments at the place of employment tomorrow morning. A little earlier than usual, so hence I must be avant to bed for sleep, so I can actually do said work tomorrow and not screw it up, because that would be bad. I think we are in good shape here. I can build kind of something coming off and around this, so that way when you get out of the cockpit, perhaps you even get a chance to look over down into the foundry itself proper there, while it wraps around and comes up over behind this onto that catwalk, so you can potentially get to that ship without having to get out of there. Kind of like that. All the industrial machines get to have their own little room and live in there, and even if they don't live in there, there's still plenty of room for them over in the civilian part of the station. Plenty of room for ships over here, but I can get rid of these guys. Figure out a better way to attach things in here. If anything, the jump drive courier needs to move in there. I don't know if this thing will actually... Connectors are disabled. Power grid offline. Can I turn you on? Sure. This thing needs to go somewhere other than out and about. Before anyone asks, if you've not seen this before, this is not super gridding. This is completely vanilla, this particular ship. Well, not completely vanilla, modded. It's using the attachment plates that I was using earlier. The safest way to pull you in is actually with the jump drive in the back, because I think it'll fit through here. This is what you do when you don't have a mod installed that gives you a compact jump drive. Yeah, so maybe this is where you go dock up for long-range missions. Or travel, actually. Come into this hangar, and this is where we keep the jump shuttles stored. But yeah, it's just using that attachment mod from earlier, small grid to large grid. Though amusingly enough, it doesn't quite handle turning off the grid properly. I know that that jump drive is still powered up, or at least still charged. Acting like it's got power. Yeah, nice little cat flap. Place to store the vehicles. Everything's shielded. I'm thinking next week, probably going to... Wouldn't be a bad idea to work on the solar grid a little bit more over here. Beef it up just a tad more. I need to start getting some of the legit large panels on here instead of just the small one. We've got a little more work we can obviously do in here, but at least we're sealed up for the time being. Everything in here is mostly protected at this point. Granted, there's lots of places where stray shots are going to get through, but got shielding for that. We've got the bob grid out here that I actually need to tear down an arm on and fix. Because this one I didn't build right. I left the bobs in line, and I shouldn't have done that. But I do need to grid that up and get that set up properly. So we'll have our small grid area wrecking yard out here built. And of course, there's always plenty of stuff sitting up in the skies, potentially waiting to challenge me. So some more turrets are probably not a bad idea. Especially over that guy up there who doesn't even have a name on him. Neutral target, but still. Come on. Register your ship, man. So that's where we're going to end that off. See you guys next time on Saturday. We've got Kerbal Space Engineers with Wasted Space, Textfire, Spacebar. Unfortunately, Splitsy is out on vacation, so he will not be able to join us this week. But he'll be back eventually. I'm sure we will get up to all sorts of shenanigans trying to get Kerbals to the moon. Legitly, not through weird grid separation flukes. And, yeah, that's where we're going to leave that off. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next week with some more wonderful, relaxing survival here in Space Engineers. Until then, have a great day.